Season's greetings, everyone. I'm Jonathan Easton, a member of the King's Chambers Planning Group. And as you can probably tell, I'm very pleased with myself because I've managed to discover a video filter function on Zoom, which I shall use regularly from now on. I've drawn the 8th day of Christmas, traditionally known as the day when my true love brings me 8 maids a-milking. What isn't generally known is that the original 1780 version of this festive ditty referred actually to Maidenhead and Milton, one being a Berkshire market town, the other being a small village in Cambridgeshire. Over time, and perhaps as a result of the song being passed from word of mouth, quite probably from Berkshire to Cambridgeshire, it morphed into Maids a-milking. You can actually see how that happened. How fortuitous then that a case involving Maidenhead with a link to Milton has graced the planning court in these last 12 months. Now, what are the chances of that happening? So the case is Hudson against Windsor and Maidenhead Royal Borough Council. It concerned the grant of planning permission for a holiday village at the Legoland Windsor Resort. It was a full-size village for normal real people, not a Lego village for Lego people. Incidentally, this might not be true, but I understand that at Legoland there's a Bonnie Tyler statue made completely out of Lego, but every now and then it falls apart. Now, Lego must like a challenge because the site was in the Greenbelt and was surrounded on 3 sides by a triple SI in a special area of conservation, the SAC having the largest number of veteran oaks in Britain. Officers recommended refusal, which is hardly surprising. Members disagreed, concluded that very special circumstances existed and granted permission with conditions and a Section 106 agreement to protect the trees. There were 3 grounds or building blocks to the claimant's argument. First, a failure to give reasons for departing from the officer's report. This failed. The judge, Mrs. Justice Lang, took into account not only the resolution to grant planning permission, but also the transcript of the committee meeting itself, the conditions and the Section 106 agreement. Given that most committee meetings are now recorded, this is a potentially valuable resource, although it won't always be possible to work out how the majority of members are thinking, or whether in fact the written reasons reflect the live debate. The second reason related to a failure to reconsider the decision in light of revised policy on veteran trees. Paragraph 118 of the 2012 National Planning Policy Framework contained a straight balance between the loss of veteran trees and the benefits and need for the development. Paragraph 175C of the 2018 framework had a much stronger policy protection, so that it was only in exceptional circumstances that the loss would be justified. Now, this change of policy occurred between the resolution to grant planning permission and the issue of the decision notice, and according to the claimant, should have caused the members to reconsider. Now, in coming to a conclusion on this, the judge referred to the well-known decision of Kaides against South Cambridgeshire, which, as everyone knows, concerned a housing scheme in Longstanton, which is literally down the road from, you guessed it, Milton. The judge held that Kaides required the claimant to satisfy the court that the new policy in the framework on veteran trees was material to the decision, in the sense that it may have had a material effect on the panel's original deliberations. In this case, members considered that with mitigation there would be no harm at all to the veteran trees, and as such the change in policy could have made no difference. So that ground failed. Incidentally, I used to have a pet tree. It's a bit like having a pet dog, but the bark is quieter. The third and final ground alleged that the council had failed to carry out an appropriate assessment under the habitats regulations. It was common ground that an appropriate assessment hadn't formally been carried out. However, Mrs. Justice Lang followed Mr. Justice Duff. See what you do, they get 2 12 Days of Christmas references for the price of 1 in this video. Followed his judgment in the 2019 case of Canterbury against the Secretary of State, where he held that in cases where there's been a breach of European environmental law, the court retains a discretion not to quash that decision on the grounds of illegality. And in this case, the judge held that the extensive assessments of impacts and mitigation, wide consultation, and the lack of objection from Natural England was sufficient to enable her to conclude that the decision would have been the same, even if a formal appropriate assessment had been undertaken. This is quite a tricky area for judges, as they mustn't be seen to trespass into the forbidden territory, as Mr. Justice does call it in the Canterbury case, of evaluating the substantive merits of the decision. His claim was unsuccessful, but Mr. Hudson did live to fight another day. The Court of Appeal heard his appeal on the 7th of November this year, and we awaited a decision from them. And that's it from me. I wish both viewers of this video, hi Mum, hi Dad, are very happy, and after the year we've had, a recuperative Christmas. Stay safe, everyone.